Tell me lies, tell me sweet little lies. Oh la 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 la. See, the Pope dies and all of a sudden, the gates of Oblivion are now open. Hit the like button, ladies and gents, because Todd Howard keeps asking for money and it just works. Because after milking Skyrim dry, they have turned their eyes to Oblivion. And to be honest, if we're going to keep it 100 like my buddies across the pond say, this is what 16 times the detail truly looks like, Todd. Because the Oblivion Remaster looks like Skyrim, but with 1,000 mods. Bravo, Bethesda. Maybe we're at the start of the regarded Bethesda redemption arc. Finally making a game that doesn't look and run like probably not. This is Bethesda who we're talking about. It's ironic that this is the best looking game from Bethesda. But like I said again, that's not saying much. Now, as of me making this, Elder Scrolls Oblivion has 180,000 people playing, with barely any kind of marketing. As broken as their games have been, I think Todd Howard is trying to prove that Bethesda games do not need a lot of marketing. The shock adrenaline of dropping quickly induces some kind of FOMO and they think that's enough. And as a vanilla purist, as someone who played the original Oblivion day one, I'm going to hold off on playing it because there's too many games in my backlog to get to. I'll just wait for Sky Oblivion. Anyway, look, in a market where you have Nintendo releasing 20 10-year-old games with zero effort being put into it at full price, such as the Breath of the Wild brand new on Switch 2 with all the DLC costing $90, so when something like this comes out looking the way it does, like the Oblivion remake, we have to give it its credit. Because this is an actual remaster, overhauled visuals, all DLC included for $50. But we're about to take the credit away, because having said all of that, there's some controversy surrounding Elder Scrolls Oblivion, which I think is quite hysterical to say the least. So when you create your character in Oblivion, there's a point where you have to pick the gender of your character. Now, keeping in mind that this is 2025, it just isn't male or female anymore. The developers still just couldn't help themselves by slipping in body type A and body type B. You know, when I first saw this in someone's playthrough, I was like, wait a second, are they asking whether I have type 1 or type 2 diabetes? Because I was like, what the f am I reading? You know, I had a second to think and say, do I give a rat's ass about this? And then I said, yeah, I actually do. I mean, it's all these little things is how we end up with Dragon Age the Veilguard or AC Shadows. You know, when you look deeper into this, it's all performative on the developer's end. The characters in the game still call you by the correct pronoun. Hell, if you create a female dark elf, the prisoners in the other cells still harass you the instant the game gives you control of the character. It's good that it doesn't affect the gameplay, but then again, why the is it there in the first place? And then you have people who are defending this option. They'll scream, look, it's not really a big deal. Then if it's not a big deal, explain to me why it was changed in the first place. And then why does NexusMods keep banning mods restoring it to its original form? Because yes, some good Samaritan gamers decided to fix the developer's idiocy. They made a mod, get ready for this horrific thing that they did. They made the body type options male or female instead of body type 1 and type 2. Oh my god, the horror. And lo and behold, NexusMods immediately within 30 minutes banned the mod. Why on earth would you stop players changing that with a mod? I mean, why are you so forceful about that? Because the Nexus moderation team are probably the same idiots who moderate Reddit. These people are all about pushing a message. I mean, if you're looking at this from an objective standpoint, like I said earlier, if you don't think it's a big deal, then you shouldn't have a big problem with replacing it with male or female. Censorship is still censorship, regardless of how small or big you think it is. I mean, hell, the original Oblivion had the same skeleton for male and female. So if you were gonna do this, why not just make it type 1 and type 1? You know, I understand if it was something not safe for work, but wanting a mod of 2 words simply saying male or female removed goes against your whole, you know, inclusion ideology. Yeah, remember that. Look, quite frankly, I find this whole thing, this body type stuff, genuinely hilarious. Can you imagine talking to your girlfriend and saying some shit like, hey baby, come over here with your type 2 body? I might actually do that for the lols. You can't in one breath say that that you don't think it's a big deal. But then, oh my god, I'm gonna remove this mod that says male or female within 5 minutes. See, the thing is just a subtle way of inserting something in there that proves that these developers don't see gamers as people. They see gamers as some kind of tool for them to exploit. You would think by now that gamers have made themselves very clear about our disapproval of these weird ideologies being pushed into our games. But yet these developers are nonchalantly just saying, yeah, ignore all of that. Let's just pretend that this is what everybody wants. We focus group 5 people with purple hair and disgusting body odor, and they all said they want this in their games. Well, you know what? Well done, Bethesda. You did it. Despite the Type 1 and Type 2 diabetes bullshit, your game managed to kick Veilguard, Avowed, and AC Shadows right in the teeth without having any kind of advertisement other than a leak. And by the way, do you think this would work with any new IP? Because we have reached a total lack of creativity in the gaming industry. Just this year alone, we've had countless remasters and sequels announced. Nobody wants to risk trying a new IP, keeping things fresh. Those things are like foreign to people nowadays. But then again, I don't know, maybe it's for the best. Especially with things like Dragon Age the Veilguard or Saints Row. That they would maybe, I don't know, just maybe try something new. But no, listen, we're gonna get, let's see, Oblivion the Smart Refrigerator Edition. Oblivion the Board Game Edition, the Card Game Edition. Listen, we don't want 10 versions of Oblivion, Bethesda. It's almost like Bethesda will do anything to avoid Elder Scrolls 6, including moving backwards like in this case. They caught wind of Sky Oblivion coming out and they knew they just had to find a way to capitalize on it. Sky Oblivion, by the way, was universally praised. And good old Todd Howard just got a little bit too jealous, and it wouldn't be a surprise to me if this was all done just to steal the thunder from Sky Oblivion. Imagine creating Sky Oblivion for 13 years with the blessing of Bethesda, by the way, and then when you're just about to release, Bethesda announces they're doing their own remaster. Oh my god, I would go crazy. Because can you imagine making probably the biggest human man-made mod of all time? Spending all that time, because we are talking 13 years to get completely railroaded by Bethesda. I mean, wow, that is just so incredibly sad. That team who made Sky Oblivion, they went above and beyond on that project. You can clearly see how much time was spent on that game. That's gotta really hurt. And on that bombshell, let me know in the comments what you think. Manix out.
Your money or your life? Good choice. Take it. It's worthless to me anyway.